Well, welcome. We're going to discuss variables and expressions today. So this is lesson 1-4. A key concept. What we're going to be doing today is translating a verbal phrase into an expression. Now remember, an expression is a lot like an equation, except it doesn't have any equal signs. Our vocabulary is expression, and that is a combination of numbers, variables, and operation symbols. So we're talking about regular numbers and letters of the alphabet, and whether we're going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Another vocabulary is a word is term. That's a number, a variable, or a product or quotient. Do you remember what operations give us a product or a quotient? Okay, product is when we multiply, and a quotient is when we divide. So it's the product or quotient of numbers and variables. And a variable is a symbol used to represent an unspecified number or value. So a lot of times we use X in algebra. When we're doing word problems, a lot of times we use N because it says something about a number. So we use N to represent number. Now there usually is a one-to-one correspondence. So what that means is for every word you see, there's going to be some kind of symbol that we're going to use. Either a number, or a operation symbol, or a variable. Here's another operation symbol. So this one reads 5 times a number, so we're using N for a number, plus 3. So when we put it all together, 5 times a number we rewrite as 5n, because this means the same thing as 5 times n. So 5n plus 3. Now there is an exception to the one-to-one correspondence in the phrase less than. So what operation do you think we're going to perform with less than? Yes, if we're less than, we are subtracting. So we're going to have a minus sign here. And whenever you see less than, you have to switch the order of the terms. So see this little crisscross graphic organizer? So this says 3 less than, so that means we're going to subtract 3 from something. 3 less than 10. So our expression is written as 10 minus 3. Very good. Now there is one little note. When we're choosing letters or symbols and choosing a variable, let's not choose the letters I or L or O. They're not good choices because they look too much like the numbers 1 and 0. So that starts to get confusing. Okay, let's look at an example together. So let's first of all read what it says. Write an expression. Okay, so now we know what we're going to be doing. For the verbal phrase, so we know they're going to give us the words. 6 more. So 6 more than, twice. What operation are we performing with twice? Good, it's 2 times. So twice is 2 times something, a number. 6 more than 2 times a number. So let's translate that. 6 plus 2 times n. And when we write the expression, 6 plus 2n. So now I want you to pause the video for a moment. You guys can work together if you want. Read the instructions, write the phrase, translate it into numbers, then give me your expression. Then when you come back on, we'll go over them together. Okay, so let's look at this. Remember, it says write an expression for the verbal phrase 3 less than half a number. And they're reminding you less than is not one-to-one and that the order switches. So we're going to put less than right in here. So what operation are we going to perform? What are we going to put here? Exactly, a minus sign. So it says 3 less than. So this 3 is going to go over here instead because it's less than 3 and it's less than half a number. So 1/2 n. So 1/2 times n less than 3. So 1/2 n minus 3 is what will go here. Very good. Let's look at example 2. Neela bought 3 boxes of pens, write an expression for the total number of pens she bought. So first of all, we need to write a verbal phrase. So they're not giving it to us this time. We have to write it. 3 times the number of pens per box. So we're going to group the phrase into parts. 3 times number of pens per box. Now let's translate that into numbers. 3 times, we're going to let P stand for pens, because that's going to represent the number of pens per box. So we're going to write the expression 3P, because 3P is the same thing as 3 times P. Now it's your turn. Pause the video, read the example, and you guys can get together, put your heads together to see what you come up with. Then turn it back on and we'll go over the answer. So, Arletta received 8 more collectible stamps for her birthday. So, write an expression for the total number of stamps in her collection. So we can say we're going to start with number of stamps plus 8. So now let's put that group into parts. Number of stamps plus 8. So what are we going to use to represent number of stamps? You can use an N for number, you can use S for stamps. What is plus? What operation we're going to put here? Yeah, we're going to add plus and the number 8. So when we write our expression, we're going to have N plus 8. Excellent. So I'm going to let you stop for a moment, do a little guided practice, get some practice with this. So pause the video as you guys work together. That's something that you can turn in to be checked later on. And when you get finished with that and ready for the next step, turn the video back on. Okay, now we've got a little bit more step-by-step practice here. They say to write an expression for the phrase 8 less than 3 times a number. So remember that less than is going to go in our middle box, and we've got to put our 8 over here. There we go. So what are we going to put in here? Group the phrase. 8 less than 3 times a number. So let's translate that. We're going to put 3n minus 8, because it's 8 less than 3 times a number. So we would write our expression 3n minus 8. Good job. That was a little practice together. Now there's a few more for you to work on. I'll let you pause the video. You guys can work together on these and then restart the video when you're done. Okay, we have one last step-by-step problem-solving practice we're going to work together. We are to solve, something about postcards. Simone bought 12 more than half the number of postcards in her collection. So we are to write an expression to show how many postcards she has now. So what I'd like for you guys to do is first get together to try to write this verbal phrase, pause the video, and then in a moment you can start it back up and I will have the answers up for you. Okay, so here's how we can check. First of all, we can start out by underlining our key phrases. 12 more than half the number of postcards in her collection. And we are to write an expression. So this says what we're looking for. So 12 more than half a number of postcards. So you should have written in your spaces here 12 plus 1/2 n, or you could use P for postcards. So as you go through this problem, you can check off each step. This is a way to problem solve. First of all, you need to understand what they're asking you. So did you underline your keywords? Then you make a plan. How are you going to solve the problem? Well, you can group the phrase into smaller parts. That's what we did here when we broke it down into parts. Next, we need to solve it. So we have to translate it into number form so that we can solve it. And then you're going to check your answer. You're going to choose a value for n and test it in the word phrase in the expression. So you can put numbers here for n and see what you get for your answer. That is a way to check it. Good job, guys. You've got a little more guided practice to work on. Don't forget to turn it in when you're finished.